If you enjoy listening to inspirational stories from people just like us, facing the fear and doing it anyway, then you're in the right place. My name is Claire Hill, and this is the No Rest for the Vivid podcast. Hello, welcome to No Rest for the Vivid podcast. I am Claire Hill, your host. If you'd like to find out more details about me, there are lots and lots and lots of podcasts of me talking about myself and different ways I can transform you from being a worrier to a warrior. So dive right into all the other episodes. There's quite a few now. But this episode is all about Ali and Em from the Limitless CEO. I don't know why, but I find that hard to say in one go. Limitless. There we go. My tongue does get tired sometimes. Ali and Em was such a pleasure to interview. This episode is amazing. Please let me know what you take away from the episode, what you learn, what was your favourite bit, and please follow Ali and Em and let them know too. It really was a fantastic conversation, and I'm going to have the pleasure of joining them on their podcast in the summer. Before I get stuck in and you can hear the amazing interview, I just want to let you know about my latest offer, the Boss Boost. Now, I think you know what's coming in this session. It's a boost to your boss, to be you being a boss. It's ideal for anyone that just wants some real motivation, injection of momentum into their business. I was thinking about how in energy, you know, one of those cars, the toy cars that you pull back and then you let go and it drives forward. The Boss Boost is that. I'm pulling your car forward to give you loads and loads of momentum to see you through 2023. It's a whole month of wraparound support. You get 2 hours of one-to-one time in that month, and you get 12 hours a day, Monday to Friday, of WhatsApp support. So I live in your pocket for a whole month. If you're interested in that, I have 3 spots for March. Let me know, send me a message. You can email me at hello@thevividclub.co.uk. I am changing my website soon. I'm building my new website for all Claire Hill stuff. So there isn't actually a sales page at the moment, but there's lots of information on my social media, and I can tell you from my mouth as well. I can send you some voice notes. So if you're interested, let me know. And without further ado, here is Ali and Em. Enjoy. Good morning, Ali and Em. Welcome to the podcast.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I love it when I have 2 guests on at the same time, and it really does feel like you're having a proper virtual cuppa, doesn't it?
Little party.
Yeah, so I've absolutely really love the fact that you're both on. So I'm just going to get straight in, tell everyone who you are, why you come together, and then I want you to, because your love story of your business together, it's just so lush. I was just reading all about it on the website and everything, but obviously it's better from you guys to tell it. So off you go.
But I always get the date wrong. 2019, I want to say. It was 2019 at the UK Health Coaches Association conference, and both Em and I had been asked to come in and speak and talk about our areas of genius, I suppose. And at the time, I was a health coach. I had an incredibly successful health coaching business. I had loads and loads of clients, and I'd only just really started my business, but I was helping lots and lots of people, and they loved me coming on stage to come and tell my story. And Em was there in her capacity as what did you call yourself at the time, Em?
I was a business strategist and coach. Yeah, brand strategist and coach, yeah.
And we were talking on stage, and I was wearing very glittery, bright red sequin trousers. And every time I wanted to try and speak and stand up, I kept getting stuck on the chair. And this very nice lady next to me just had to keep picking bits of my bottom. So we hit it off really, really quickly, given that intimacy from a very, very early phase.
Yeah, and I've been sorting her out ever since, to be honest.
She has. She's been sorting out my arse ever since. She's got my back, let's say.
I've got your bottom and your back.
I've got my bottom and my back. And I mean, we briefly got to know each other on that day. And 3 months later, my husband said to me, he said, you know what, Ali, you're brilliant at what you do. You love what you do. And I'm so pleased for you. but you've got to make some money. Otherwise it's just a really expensive hobby that I can't continue to support you in. He's an accountant, so money's a real, thing that he tends to watch. Yeah. So I was like, oh, okay. I was like, well, who can help me? Because I've never really done any of this kind of like online business before in terms of my own business. I used to build big websites for the likes of Asda and Walmart and Tesco's and all of these amazing things, but I'd never actually built my own business, so to speak. So I was like, oh, there was that really nice girl on stage that I met at the UK Health Coaches Association. I'll give her a ring. And I remember exactly where I was. I was driving to Harrogate, and I was on the Harrogate Road going Christmas shopping, and I rang Em and I was like, Em, I need your help. I need to be professional. I need to get out there. I need to make some money. Can you help me? And she said, yes.
Yeah, that was exactly my recollection. Except just to add my little piece into that as well, I had just found out the day before the speaker opportunity that we had there that I was pregnant, and I was feeling so green. And I was like, oh my gosh, but I've committed to this. I've got to go and get up on stage, try not to faint. And the first person I saw when I walked in the room was this like crazy character in her red bright sequin trousers, and she just gave me this like massive hug. I was like, okay, I can do this. I've got Ali by my side. She'll pick me up if I pass out on the stage or puke up or something else equally embarrassing. So it was quite it was like you say, it was just like that instant, you just meet somebody and you just like that energy, and your energy is like gels straight away. It was just very much like that.
We've been completing each other ever since, haven't we? Yeah. I mean, just before we came on, rather hilariously, the first thing that Claire, or you said, I think you were like, oh my God, I can't believe you're wearing that jumper. And I was like, well, I can, because I am the master manifestor. I've just been on a walk thinking about what jumper I was going to wear. I'm going to wear the one with the ruffly top and the stars that's bright pink that Em's got the blue version of. Wouldn't it be funny if we both showed up in the same? And I'd be like, yes. And then it's pink and blue, matchy. And then, so these two were like, oh my God, you're wearing the same jumper. And I was like, yes, but of course, because I manifested this conversation.
We're wearing hers and hers jumpers today. Those like just listening, you can't see that, but if you're on the YouTube, you'll be able to have a good old giggle about the fact that we are dressed the same. Like not intentionally, but I think we've spent way too much time together over the last few years. But yeah, I suppose like get back to the story. Ali phoned me and said, can you help me? I need to make some money in my business. That was like very much my bag. That's what I did. I've been running my business at that point for about 6 years as an independent consultant, but I was marketing agency director before that, so it just kind of been my life's work really. And I was like, yeah, I'd love to help you, the crazy lady in the red trousers. And that was at the start of 2020. So we went into 2020 with this like amazing plan, knew exactly what we were doing, all good to go. And then of course March, April time, the whole world went crazy and we went into lockdown, and we were like, oh, okay, well, we're going to have to make a massive power pivot here, because what was going to work then isn't going to work now. And to cut a long story short, we just changed everything and really sort of, I guess, like embraced the opportunity of, lockdown and so many people being at home and being online. And Ali's business literally went from, I think when I first started working with her, she said, oh, well, I just want to make a couple of grand to keep my husband quiet. Couple of grand a month will do to keep my husband quiet. And then by the end of 2020, she was hitting like multiple 5-figure months consistently. And we were like, this is pretty epic, like us working together. And a lot of people were kind of like taking note of what was going on and saying to Ali, what are you doing differently? Like, how has your business blown up? And she was very much like, well, this is them. I've got a little secret weapon here. And we decided to run like a joint masterclass together to basically share exactly what we had done with Ali's business, like step by step, like what the strategies were, and just kind of like open that up to people. And hundreds of women signed up to this masterclass to come and find out how Ali had grown her wellness business. And totally like mind blowing, because we weren't expecting it at all. And off the back of that, we actually decided to run a program together for the first time, actually taking people through that entire process over a 3-month period. And the Well Balanced Business Program was born, which was like our first ever program together. And I guess it was like shortly after that, or probably halfway through that program, we were like, do you know what? There's something really special about the two of us working together, because I think one of the reasons why the strategy works so well for Ali is because she's such a master of her mind and her energetic frequency, and understanding like who
I can even get you to wear a blue jumper when you're 300 miles away. I mean, seriously.
I know. Check that out. But yeah, it was so interesting, this like fusion of like, here's the strategy, here's what you've got to do. And you can, Claire, you probably know, you can give a strategy to lots of different people, and some people will do it, others won't.
Absolutely.
People will like execute in very different ways. But when you bring in that like really solid mastery of your mind and understand like the energetics around who you're being when you actually do the things that you're supposed to do in your business, I say supposed to, but it totally like amplified what we were doing. And so we were like, do you know what? We are like, we love what we do. We love our individual businesses, but there's something really special going on here. And we had this conversation. I remember, Ali, you were on holiday. I think you were on a boat at the time.
I was on a boat in Greece. It was amazing.
I was at home with poor Darcy, my little girl, who was really sick at the time. I think we'd all had COVID. And we were like, should we go all in together? Like, are we doing this? Are we actually going all in? Is this going to be more than a program? Is this actually going to be a business? And it was at that point that we really sat down and were like, okay, what is our movement then? Like, what is this brand that we're creating together? The Well Balanced Business was like, it was a program, but it didn't feel big enough for what we wanted to do. So we kind of took a step back, and that was when the Limitless CEO was born. And it was very much born out of this idea that we'd both had like really, really great like corporate careers before starting our own businesses. And in that time had been really like put off by the stereotype of a CEO and what we had experienced as like that kind of top job. And we were like, we don't want to be like that. We don't want to be that stuffy, stereotype middle-aged man in a suit in an office. Like, that's just not us at all. We're like complete free spirits. And the word CEO came up, and I was like, can't get behind that. And Ali said to me, is there a way in which you could maybe get behind CEO if we redefined it?
I was like, can we change the letters? Can we change the words?
She's like, go do your word thing.
And Em's such a brilliant wordsmith. I was like, can we create our own acronym that feels right for us? And I remember I was sat outside having my coffee. I would think was looking after Darcy and doing various things. It was like, this is how we want to run our business. Outside, being mums. What does our CEO stand for if that's what we want to create? In terms of Em's business was all about designing the dream. That was the name of your brand, your business, your movement. And mine was all about happiness and the happiness principles. And it was like, how can we bring that together to create our own version of CEO? And we came together and we're like, well, it's consciously evolving owner. We are always moving. We're always changing. This conscious level of mind mastery and knowing what we're doing and knowing what we're all about. And this evolution of knowing that, just even looking back at my story, the world is always changing around us, which means we also have to adapt and respond and evolve and change and grow. And then this ownership piece was really about, Em and I are really, really passionate about this. We take responsibility for us. One of the key things as part of our movement is all about being self-made. It's all about we take ownership of who we are becoming and what and our independence in terms of finance and the decisions that we make in terms of our business. It's all about us, this self, putting ourselves in our business, ourselves in that driving seat. And then we were like, that's what we're doing. And with that, there's limitless potential, limitless possibilities, limitless opportunities. And it was like, well, we're the Limitless CEO then. And that's how we came up with the brand.
Wow. The rest is history.
I love it. It's so, it really is an absolute love story. And I do want to say, like, on your website, you do tell the story, but you can really feel the passion and emotion and how much you care about each other and how inspired you are by each other. And I don't know if you realise, but how much you big each other up as you're talking and how you know each other. It's just so empowering and wonderful and inspiring to have two women that have met and have brought something, you can tell that there's no competition. It's all about collaboration and creating something really, really magical. It's so lovely.
That's so gorgeous. Thank you so much for recognizing that, because that has been a huge intention from the get-go. And I know, like you've just said, many women see that from our social media accounts, from our stories, from our podcast, talking about each other. And they're like, we want what you've got. How have you done that? How have you created that special bond between the two of us? And that's something that we deeply recognize, and that we are deeply so grateful for. And I love Em, and she's a huge part of my life. She's my sister. She's everything. She's got my back. She's not just my business partner. She's my friend. She's, my confidant. I can say anything and know I'm never going to be judged. And that's what we want to create for other women who come into our world, who come in to work with us, whether that be in our programs, as private clients. We don't just have clients who are clients. We feel that they are partners with us. They come in to work with us as partners, as collaborators, as friends. It's like we are all working together as a team, in a group, in a sisterhood. And that has been something that we've really brought in with absolute clarity and purpose and intention for everything that we stand for. So that warms my heart to see that you've recognized that.
Yeah, sisterhood's massive for us. I think our experience of women working with other women in past lives, past careers, wasn't always a positive one at all. Like we and in our lives as well, like some of stories that we've got around feeling like other women tearing us down as opposed to building up.
Yeah
and I think that's something that a lot of women experience in their lives, and we're like, how can we actually fucking change this? Sorry, am I allowed to swear?
Of course you can swear. Yeah, absolutely.
Actually felt really passionate about the fact that we'd managed to create something really strong between the two of us, and our past experience had left quite a few like sisterhood wounds for both of us. And I think through us in this partnership and building this business together, and then the work that we do ongoing, has actually healed all that for us, because it's restored our trust in other women and how we can actually work together and be able to say what needs to be said, speak our truth, and know that you've got a stage there where it's going to be received rather than like on the defensive or anything like that. And like, honestly, having that kind of relationship in your life as a woman really like is so life-changing. Like, because I've never really had that before.
What about you, Ali? Had you had that before in the same way?
I'm lucky enough to have an actual sister. So
right, yeah.
But I think it's very different when it comes into the workplace. And I also have some incredibly great friends. I went to boarding school. So I have a lot of my oldest friends. I do class as my sisters, and they've always been there. So I am really lucky that I have a very tight-knit group of girlfriends, a sister, and Em to call that they do have my back. And I've been through some really difficult times in the last decade, and they've all been there for me. So for me, it's like, I know what it feels like to have that. So I love giving that to other people. But I have also, like Em was saying, I've also experienced the opposite, but I'm choosing to focus more on what I want to create rather than how I've been burnt in the past.
Yeah, it's one of those conversations I've been talking about in my membership actually recently, because it's very difficult to, and it's a challenge, and not saying it's impossible, to accept that the way that you treat people and champion people and raise them up is not what everyone else does. And I think, as you're talking, there's so many incidences where, you get wounded by it, don't you? You're scarred by the fact that people have let you down in that way, but also how you would never do it. So you don't understand. It's like that thought process. Why do you feel that for some people, it can be quite a challenging thing to champion, their competition in, as it were?
I think there's a level of, I don't know whether this is the right answer, but when you were speaking, something I felt really cool to say is around this level. And I'm a huge believer in, and I've learned and I've taken so many courses, and it's what helped heal me, was around the mindfulness process. And the first level of mindfulness is always about being aware of your feelings, aware of your actions, aware of what you're doing and what you're creating. But the second one is all around compassion. And I think sometimes we live in a space, and I know we really believe in this, and it formed part of our womankind serious, but it's compassion is the ability to be able to hold yourself with compassion and love and healing and hearing yourself and holding yourself, and most importantly, forgiving yourself. And if you can give that to yourself, then it's also about giving it to others. So in the times where people have hurt me, or particularly in women, it doesn't matter, does it really, men or women?
No.
But a person, whenever they've maybe done something to hurt me, then my response now, rather than one of being self-righteous or one of wanting to attack back, has been very much like, oh, let's be compassionate here. There must be something else going on in their life that perhaps has just amplified whatever it is that I've done. Because if whatever I've done has come from a place of love, then it's not about me. It's more about something else that's going on about them. So I will hold them in compassion and let them heal, and I will forgive them for what they do. And I hope that that will be mirrored back with them. And I know that Em and I have experienced some I want to say some experiences, but that's not very good English. But we've had some situations where that has happened, but our response has always been, let's hold them in compassion. Let's forgive them. Let's open the door. Let's open our hearts. Let's hold space for them and let them say whatever they need to say. And we'll hold them for that. And, all of the women that we've done that to and for have all come back into our world for whatever reason.
Oh, that's really nice to hear. I think that's that bit where, I recognise now when that happens, it is a projection of how they're feeling about themselves.
Yeah.
Do you know what was, sorry, Claire.
No, go on then.
I was just going to say, I think what was really interesting for me from because my focus is always on strategy, and what was really interesting about this whole concept of sisterhood in business is that I feel like one of the places that those sisterhood wounds get amplified the most is in social media, because a lot of the sisterhood wounds are fear of being judged, criticized, comparison of other women. And social media is a hotbed. It's a hotbed for that, for women in business. And the thing is, if you do want to get your business out there and be seen and be visible, those sisterhood wounds are going to be the ones that are going to hold you back the most in terms of you actually executing on your strategy. Because if you're constantly worried about what people are going to say, what they're going to think, how you're going to be judged, what people are thinking about what you look like, whether you're good enough, all of those kind of things, those are all massive sisterhood wounds that that people are now, as grown women, taking into their business, and social media amplifies that fear. So for me, it was like, God, if we can heal those wounds, then we can actually get over the fears that people have about being seen and showing up for their business.
Yeah.
So it became not just a nice to have, but actually part of a strategy, because the sisterhood and the healing of those relationships gives you the confidence then go, do you know what? If I can be on social media and be compassionate about everybody else around me, then I can believe that everybody else is doing the same for me as well.
I think we come right back again to one of the things that Emma and I are, real advocates of, and especially between our zones of genius as well, is this fusion blend of strategy. What do I need to do? But also the energetics, the belief, the behind what you're doing comes together. So just as Em was saying, yes, you've got to go out on social media, but what's your energy when you're going out there? You're going out there in fear of what people might say about you. Are you going out there to go in and be nasty about other people online? Or are you going on to be inspired by what other women are doing and what they're wearing and what they're saying? Are you being, are you loving it? And if you are, and if you're going out to give love and share value, then you're doing both the strategy and the energetics. And Em said to me the other day, we were trying to talk about how we explain what it is that we do. And it's like, yes, there's the strategy. Yes, there's the energetics piece, but it's not just as simple as strategy plus energetics equals limitless success. It's not 1 + 1 = 2. When you bring the two together and you fuse them, it's 1 + 1 = 1 million.
Yeah.
100 times whatever it is, rather than just doing strategy and then energetics. It's this blend of the two together that really creates this magnetism, especially in business, but it can be in life. It doesn't matter whatever you're doing, whether it's, you can apply the same techniques to your health or to your life in general. It's like, you've got to have the two. What's your strategy? What are you going to do? How are you going to behave? And then what is the energy and the purpose behind it that's then going to amplify whatever it is you're doing?
Yeah. And I love that both of you both have such clear, and I don't know whether maybe that's why you work so much. You've obviously I'm trying to say three things at once. Let me just, it's just my brain's just gone, three topics. But coming together, it's one of those things, like, you are living the dream as a business bestie, growing this business, and it's definitely yin and yang. You've come together, and a lot of people might be listening going, oh my God, I wish I could have that, and how do I create it? But it does sound like the universe just put you both in the exact right place. You're just soulmates that have just collided into each other exactly at the right time. But do you feel that moving forward in those business relationships, recognizing both your strengths, and is it very much like, this is what Ali does, this is what Em does, and then we've got that collaboration where it's sort of where the merge happens, where all of that joy comes together? Or when you first started working together, did you have to sort of be quite strategic about that part of it?
Yeah, that's a really great question, actually. And we've asked ourselves that a lot over the last year, because I think we were very much in our own zones when we first came together, and I was always the strategy, Ali was always the energetics. And I think in the early days, if we're being honest with ourselves, I think we started to overlap a little bit, because actually, I do know a lot about energetics, and I've, embodied a lot of that work myself. And obviously I've got a great teacher here in my pocket all the time. And likewise, I was Ali's strategic coach. So that's how we started to get together in the first place. So she knows a lot about the strategies that I teach, because she's implemented them herself. So we were kind of finding this blend of us both doing both, but Em being kind of mainly strategy and Ali being mainly energetics. And I think actually it was a big realization for us, probably more recently, to say, actually, do you know what? We really, really want to step into our own areas of mastery a lot more, and to for me to just be very much on the strategic side, but also to be able to share my experiences of energetics, but not from a teaching perspective, and for Ali to very much be that master of energetics, but be able to share her experiences of the strategy, but not from a teaching perspective. And I think in doing that, we've really found our way in the last 6 months, I would say, in terms of, we know what we both individually are great at, but then there's this bit in our business where the two, they do overlap, because it's Ali injects her energetics into my strategy, and I inject the strategy into the energetics that she's working with. So when we're working with clients, they're not getting one or the other, they're getting that infusion of both, if that makes sense. And I think
you have a great understanding.
Sorry, I was just say that's very much driven our strategic approach in the business as well, because now you'll find places where you can come and tune into the two of us in our kind of fusion capacity, but you'll also be able to go and you'll be able to find me completely in my genius zone, just talking brand, doing my own thing, my own series. You'll be able to find Ali, live doing her energetics, and very much in that zone. And then in all of our programs, pretty much there's a place where those two fuse together, so you get the experience of both. That's it's a really great question, actually, because I think it's something that we did start to overlap a little bit, and then we've kind of come out and gone, actually, do you know what, we are brilliant in our own areas, and we just need to find the place where that comes together, and that's the sweet spot.
I think, look, I love our logo as an infinity heart. It's like this infinite wheel of energetics and strategy, and it's when Em teaches strategy to our clients or in our programs, she knows that, she teaches that with an understanding of what's going on in the minds and the energy of our client, because we obviously have conversations about our clients together. So she's got a real full understanding of what's going on in the energy. Likewise, I'm very, very cognizant of the strategies that Em is talking about with our clients, so that then I can say, okay, well, what's the resistance here? What's going on? What do we need to clear up here in order for you to do what it is that you need to do, but in that real purest sense of energy, so that we can really amplify it. I think one of the things that's also really helped the two of us and understand not only our own energy, but also as a strategy, has been bringing in the concept of human design. Claire, have you ever heard of human design?
Yes, I'm a projector.
Are you? So you're like projectors
yeah.
in the house.
Oh, you're the only second projector I've ever met. The other one is one of my clients.
Projector power.
Yeah.
So bringing this strategy around energetics has also, it helped us. Going back to one of the questions you asked about earlier, is how do we bring this two together? But it was a real understanding that as different as I am pink and Em is blue, and we are very, very different in our human design. And when we were learning about our human design, and our coach said to us, she said, "Oh my God, you are not going to believe it, but when I put your two designs on top of each other, where one of you is open, the other is defined."
Yes, and you've got your little channel. Me and my husbands do that.
Do they?
So basically, we complete each other. We actually complete each other in terms of we're like a full human design as one overlapped on the the other. Actually, still gives me tingles whenever whenever you tell that story, because it's like, it's crazy that could be the case, but that's very much how yin and yang we are, and how different we are. But actually, when you bring the two together, there's like a completeness there, which is quite amazing.
And we've been using that very much to form a strategy, well, for Em to define the strategy for both of us, because we're not just defining a strategy for one of us and one of our energies, we're defining for the two. So we've spent some considerable time, especially in the last 6 months, really looking at my generator energy and the way I like to live my life.
I was going to say, I bet you're a generator.
Yeah, I'm a generator.
How did you tell?
And they're so good for projectors. I do love it. I love human design.
And Em is a projector, so we have to honor her, kind of like, I love to describe projectors as these lighthouses. You come out and share your amazing brilliance, but you can only be as bright as you possibly can if you've got this period of time that honors your energy, where you go and nourish and where you're not seen. And Em is also a 5-2, so she's almost got even more amplified. So she's the heretic and she's the hermit, which means she's going away to hide. She's doing her research, she's doing her marinating. So, and I always say, look, if Em's been offline for a while, you know that she's off there in the attic doing some amazing work, and she's going to come out in this amazing brilliance soon. So we had to define a way of working for Em so that we honor that, but also at the same time honoring my continual thirst and knowledge to be obsessed and want to keep going all the time. And that has been something that we've been navigating, but completely nailing right now.
Yeah, it's the same for clients though as well. So because like we know all of our clients HDs as well, so Ali works with clients and does the sort of interpretation, so they start to understand their human design. But because I also know their human design, we can then take that into consideration with their strategy, in terms of like, that strategy is probably not going to work for you as a projector, versus that one's probably going to work really well for you because of your design type and the different
profile lines.
Having that knowledge and being able to, I guess, like tailor make the strategy has really shifted things, like for us in our business, but also like for what we can do for other people as well.
It was life-changing, was it? Because it not only just came into the way that we run our business, but it also came into, okay, well, how do we want to run this program? Our live program at the moment is very much Em coming in once a week with teaching in terms of strategy, and then she's off. But I love to be involved all the time. So I'm there in Voxer with energetics, constantly like moving. And then, so it's been really amazing to use that in terms of designing our programs, the way we run it, but the way we live our life. But then, in so many other things, we just bring all of that in. And then what's been so exciting is then being able to translate that for our clients in the way that Em does it, in terms of, right, this is the best launch strategy for you as a projector, a manager or a reflector, and this is probably going to be the best way in which you create your diary and how you do things. It's just been absolutely life-changing. I mean, Claire, do you use it much, or do you just know that you're a projector?
No, loads. I use it loads. And I feel, and definitely, because from my point of view, I always talk about warrior energy, and that was such a big thing for me to focus every day on making sure that I have space every single day to do certain things, and then I've got my energy. And it wasn't until I learned about human design that I was like, that's why I need to do that every day.
It's a giant permission slip, isn't it? It's
absolutely.
It's what you know, but it's like, oh yes, you can do that.
Yeah. But also just it does benefit. It's that giving yourself time to be who you want to be, and it's all self-love and respect for yourself. So it all sort of marries up together, and it helps, people in the membership and my clients loads. But for me, it all started because I'm a projector. So when I learned that, I was like, oh my goodness, that's amazing. So yeah, no, I love it. And also it was just going back to like where you put your designs on top of each other and you can see it all connects and everything. I always think, me and my husband, we live in each other's pockets. It's not really like, we do have friends, obviously we do have a life, but really we just hang out. We're like the best of friends. And when I had my human design coaching, she was like, I wonder let me do your husband. And literally exactly the same. You later on touch on with everything connects. And I was like, I don't feel such a sop now. Okay, it's human design, it's fine.
Yeah, you're connected.
No, I know you have to go because you've got a client meeting. So I'm going to ask you, I might have you back on though, because I feel like we've just
I'd love to. So much more
coming back.
Love to.
I feel like you have all these really deep, amazing conversations, and just when you hit it, it's like, right, okay, we've got actually busy businesses and we need to get on. So I'm definitely love to have you back. But I ask everybody on the podcast, if you could tell yourself something 10 years ago that you wish you'd known then that you know now, what would it be from both of you?
Do you want to go first or shall I go first?
You go ahead. Go ahead.
So if I wind myself back to 2013, I had 2 small young boys at the time. My boss had just told me that she was going off with breast cancer and she wasn't coming back. And I was in this real dark space of something feels wrong. I'm not meant to be here. I'm not meant to be doing this, but I don't know what I'm meant to be doing. Everything just felt wrong. I would go back and sit next to myself, who was sat on that sofa wondering what was going to happen. I would say, it's going to turn out better than you ever imagined, but it's going to be really hard at points, but you're going to be okay.
Oh, love that.
That's what I would say.
I think everyone needs to hear that, don't they?
Yeah.
What about you, Em?
I was just taking myself back to 2013 as well, and Ali said that, and actually we were under that big black cloud together, just in different spaces at the time, and didn't even know each other at the time. But I wasn't in a great space either. I was working in a marketing agency at this big job and a lot of responsibility and a lot of stress, and under the surface I'd actually been diagnosed with PTSD.
Wow.
And had a lot of mental health issues and things that were very much suppressed because it just wasn't really talked about in the way that it is today. And that was really a driver for me to then go on an amazing health journey where I healed myself from the PTSD and the anxiety with nutrition and exercise. And I actually went off and qualified as a nutritionist and a personal trainer while I was doing it. And to cut a long story short, in a space of about 6 months, I healed all the trauma and lost 49 pounds in weight by accident, just through what I was doing.
Wow.
Which led me into people asking me if I would coach them.
Right.
So I started health coaching and nutrition coaching people, which really kind of gave me the thirst for wanting to do my own thing. And it was at that point that I made the decision to then leave my corporate job, jump ship, start an online business, go into consulting, and basically leave behind all of that burnout and all of the life that I'd known. And in the same year, I actually ended up leaving a 10-year relationship and the house that we'd been renovating together, and basically put this massive firework underneath my whole life. So I think in terms that year was a massive defining pivotal year for me. And if I could and it was hard, there was a lot of change going on and very, very quickly. And I think if I could go back there now and look at everything that I was doing, I would just say to myself, do you know what? Everything that you're experiencing now, it's not happening to you. This is happening for you, because this is the start of an amazing new chapter that you're about to go into. And everything that you've been through and everything that you've learned is just taking you off on the most incredible trajectory that's going to bring you to where you are today. And if none of that had happened, none of this would be possible. I wouldn't even have met Ali. I wouldn't even be here, having this conversation. So I think you just always got to trust that things are happening for you, not to you. And at some point you'll understand why that had to happen.
Yeah. I remember writing that in my diary. this has got to be happening for a reason. And one day I'll look back and I'll know why.
Yeah.
You'll know why. So if you're listening to this and you're going through a really hard time, trust in both our stories to know that it's happening for a reason and that it can only get better from here. And one day you'll look back and you go, oh, now I understand why that happened. And actually both Em and I have used that to create really great things to help other women and be in service by using some of the experiences that we've had.
Yeah, I had one of my one-to-one clients. It was literally, it's just like the theme of conversation this week, and she said, you know, I'm really scared that if I make another wrong decision, if I make another mistake. And I said, you've never made a mistake. You've not made a wrong decision, because if you hadn't have made all of those decisions in the way that you did, you wouldn't be sitting here right now having this conversation, growing your business and having so much more to give. You just wouldn't have it. So thank goodness, you know, be grateful that you made all of those decisions, but they weren't wrong. She was like, oh my goodness, I've never thought of it like that. But it's only retrospect, isn't it, when you look back? But you need people that have been, you know, that little bit further ahead to share their story. And this is why, you know, you've got your podcast, I've got mine, for people to be listening and going, okay, I can do it. You know, there's so much more evidence out there to show that things will work out than they won't.
Yeah, I've just noticed what's above your head, the word brave. And I think that's one of the things that Em and I love, is that whole bravery piece. It's not about being fearless, is it? It's about being brave. It's about being courageous, to walk with the fears, to do the hard things and know that they're going to be building the resilience that you can face anything. And that's what builds confidence, doing the hard things over and over again.
Yeah, bold, brave boss, it says. You just can't.
Oh, I didn't see it. No, I could only see the brave.
Yeah, bold, brave boss. That's what I try and embody every day. But thank you so much for being on. Like, this has been amazing. Quickly before you go, how can people find you, work with you, get to know you a bit better?
I don't know who's going to say it. I'll say it. You can find us on Instagram. We are at For the Limitless CEO. You can find us on the podcast, which is The Life of a Limitless CEO, on Apple, on Spotify, and all channels. You can find us on our website, which is just forthelimitlessceo.co.uk, and all the information is in there. Claire, thank you so much for having us on your podcast. Thank you.
So welcome. Thank you so much. See you later.
That was amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for listening to the No Rest for the Vivid podcast, written, produced and hosted by Claire Hill, and music has been composed by my brother, Phil Vick.